Hi, Tru Wonder team. That's our age 5 through 2nd grade rooms here with your weekend update for November 9th and 10th. This is lesson 1.11. So we're just a couple more weeks away from another Remember and Celebrate. But this week we are going to be teaching about Joshua and Jericho. So you can read that for yourself in the book of Numbers, chapter 13, and then chapter 14, verses 26 through 33, as well as Joshua, chapter 5, verse 13 through chapter 6, verse 27. Our ponder point this week is God always keeps his promises. And, we can even remind the students, the kids, that God had made a promise to Abraham to bring him into a land, to bring these people into this beautiful land filled with milk and honey, and it was going to be amazing. But then they suffered slavery in Egypt, and then, with Moses, he brought them out of Egypt, and now they're wandering in the desert, but God had still promised them to bring them here to this beautiful place. And we're almost there, right? So our Bible Remember verse again for this month is, "See what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God." And that's 1 John chapter 3, verse 1. So our explore activities, because we're talking about Joshua, we're going to be building some walls or towers. So you can use the Lego bricks, Duplo bricks, the cardboard blocks, some building materials there to encourage the kids to build something really tall and then watch it tumble down. The second one is a memory game, images of milk and honey and trying to match those up. That can always, depending on how engaged you are with those types of games, that will impact how much the children enjoy it as well. So if you're over there and you're trying to find those matches and, I just can't find that one, and wow, how did you find it so fast? Building them up, encouraging those little skills is always good stuff. As we move into our lesson, our what's it this week is a horn, just representing that after they had taken their last lap around the city of Jericho and the priest blew the horn and all the people shouted and the walls came tumbling down. So the whole story really does it goes through Moses bringing them and sending the 12 spies into the land of Canaan, and them coming back and saying, it's amazing, and these giant bunches of grapes that 2 men had to carry between them. And then they were saying, but the people there are huge, and we felt like grasshoppers next to them, and they were scared. And even though Joshua, and I think it was Caleb, said, no, the Lord has given us this land. We do not need to be afraid. Those other 10 spies and their fear held back the entire nation of Israel. And because of that, they had to wander in the desert for another 40 years. So they had already been wandering, they had built their tabernacle, and now they're almost there, and they're scared. So they can't go in to the land that God has promised them yet. So after 40 years, everyone who had been in that generation has passed away except for Joshua and Caleb, because they were faithful and they trusted God and they had said, no, God has given us this land and we will go. God promised them that they would still see that moment. So we've come to this. Now Joshua is at the foot of the walls of Jericho, this big city that's fortified for protection. And he's walking around, and an angel even comes to him, and he says, are you for us or for our enemies? And the angel says, no, I am with God. And I love how that moment just shifts Joshua's thinking, that it's not about whether he wins or loses. It's about God having his plan carried out. And so, the angel of the Lord reminds him, be strong and courageous. God has said that he will go with you. And he gives them the instructions to march the people around the city once a day for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, they're going to walk around it 7 times. And after that, at the end of the 7th lap, the priests are to blow that ram's horn. Oh, there's our what's-it. And then the people are to shout. And God delivers the city of Jericho just right into their hands. So just a beautiful, powerful example of trusting God and how sometimes those promises of God take a long time to come to fruition. So our 4-year-olds or 5 and 7-year-olds, they might not be able to grasp the concept of waiting 40 years to see a promise come true. But to be able to talk about the faithfulness of Joshua and the trust that he had in God and God's faithfulness to him through that, I think is just going to be a beautiful statement for them to hear. And then in our craft, I really encourage you to take time. There are some verses in our lesson to read those over the children. Maybe even before you set out the supplies, just say, I am going to read these verses over you, and I just want you to close your eyes and listen to what God has to say. So just, the Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. He remembers his covenant forever. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. For this God is our God, forever and ever. He will be our guide, even to the end. And for God so loved the world, that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And you can pause between each of those verses. Maybe at the end, just say, hey, did anybody feel like that was a great verse? Was there a word that you heard that you were like, ooh, God, yes, I heard God in that. I am always struck when there's, I will take you by your right hand, or when God uses his right hand, because that's my dominant hand. So for God to take my dominant hand is a reminder to me that I'm not in control, that he is the one who is doing the work. So that verse always hits me a little bit. So that's our game. Our craft is just putting some of those Bible verses together on a page, and they can draw a picture to go with that, or just color around it to say, like, make me feel like this, and that makes me feel like purple. I don't know. I trust you to adjust and change things up as you see fit for your class. Sorry this video went a little long, but I like this lesson. All right, I will see you this weekend. Bye.